The whole bank is talking about you. They are stunned because a check worth trillions has just been deposited in your name. And the sender's name is Michael. My beloved, stay till the end, something huge is waiting for you. Pause here for a moment. Breathe. Because the first few seconds matter. And what you're feeling right now is not shock. It's recognition. That quiet sense that something finally aligns. Like your name being spoken in a room you've never entered. Not loudly. But seriously. With focus. With respect. You don't hear shouting. You don't hear chaos. You hear silence first. The kind of silence that happens when people stop multitasking. When screens stop scrolling. When professionals look up from their desks because something unexpected has appeared in front of them. A name. Your name. Not as noise. But as weight. As value. You've lived a life where most of your work happened unseen. You learned to keep going without announcements. You handled responsibilities without applause. You carried pressure quietly. Smiled when needed. Stayed composed when things felt heavy inside. And that teaches something rare. Patience. Depth. Control. The kind that doesn't need to prove itself loudly. And now imagine this. Somewhere far from your daily routine. In a structured building. Clean desks. Calm voices. People trained to stay neutral. Even they pause. Because what they're seeing doesn't match the usual patterns. Numbers don't lie. Systems don't imagine. Yet something about this moment feels different. Not rushed. Not chaotic. Just undeniable. You're not being rushed here. No one is shouting at you. No one is pushing you into panic. This isn't about urgency. It's about readiness. About being present enough to receive what matches the work you've already done internally. Because receiving requires calm. It requires steadiness. And you've learned that over time. If this message is resonating so far, take 1 second. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel. And if your heart feels aligned, comment Amen below. Share this with someone who needs reassurance today. Then come back here. Stay with me. You see, recognition doesn't always arrive with fireworks. Sometimes it arrives with clarity. With confirmation. With a quiet shift that says, you were seen. Even when you thought you weren't. Even when you doubted yourself. Even when you wondered if consistency mattered. It did. It does. There were moments you questioned your direction. Moments you felt invisible. Moments you wondered if your efforts were just disappearing into time. But growth isn't always loud. Value isn't always announced. Some things are processed behind closed doors before they ever reach the surface. And the truth is, you've been preparing without realizing it. The patience you developed. The discipline you practiced. The restraint you showed when reacting would have been easier. All of that shaped you into someone who can hold responsibility without being overwhelmed by it. That's why this moment doesn't feel chaotic. It feels grounded. You're not jumping. You're not panicking. You're listening. You're steady. And that's important. Because when opportunities align with inner readiness, they don't create fear. They create calm confidence. You don't need to imagine yourself changing overnight. You don't need to picture a dramatic transformation. Real shifts often happen internally first. In how you walk, how you speak, how you decide, how you value your time, how you stop explaining yourself to people who never listened anyway. And here's something important. This isn't about proving anyone wrong. It's about finally standing in what's right for you. Without guilt. Without hesitation. Without shrinking. You've reached a point where you no longer chase validation. You recognize it when it appears. And you don't rush it. You allow it to unfold naturally. That's maturity. That's growth. Stay with this feeling. Let it settle. Because the more calm you are, the clearer things become. The noise fades. Doubt loosens its grip. And confidence doesn't need to shout. It simply exists. If you've stayed with me this far, you're exactly where you're meant to be. Don't scroll. Don't rush ahead. Just remain present. Because clarity always arrives for those who are willing to stay still long enough to receive it. And remember this. What's meant for you doesn't need panic to arrive. It needs alignment. And you've been aligning for longer than you realize. Like the video. Subscribe. Comment Amen if this spoke to you. Share it with someone who needs this reminder today. Stay till the end. Because something meaningful always unfolds for those who choose to remain. Stay right here. Don't move yet. Don't scroll. Because this part is not background sound. This part is meant to be felt. You've already given time to many things that never gave clarity back to you. So for these moments, give yourself permission to stay. To listen. To breathe slowly. To let your shoulders relax. Because nothing here is chasing you. Nothing here is pressuring you. This message meets you calmly, exactly where you are. You've spent a long time being dependable. Showing up when it would have been easier to disappear. Doing what needed to be done even when motivation was low. People often assume strength looks loud, confident, expressive. But real strength often looks quiet. It looks like consistency. It looks like discipline. It looks like choosing stability when chaos would get attention. And you chose that path more times than anyone knows. There were moments you questioned yourself. Not because you lacked ability. But because you gave so much without immediate feedback. You wondered if anyone noticed. If your effort mattered. If staying patient was worth it. Those thoughts didn't make you weak. They made you human. And you didn't let them stop you. You continued anyway. That's important. Stay with me. Let that truth settle. You've learned to move without announcing every step. To protect your peace instead of explaining your boundaries. to listen more than you speak. That didn't happen overnight. It came from experience. From understanding that not every room deserves your energy. Not every opinion deserves your response. You grew quieter, not smaller. More focused, not distant. Pause for a second. Breathe in slowly. Breathe out gently. You're not someone who needs chaos to feel alive anymore. You don't crave dramatic shifts. You crave clarity. You crave stability. You crave moments that feel grounded and meaningful. That's why this feels different. It doesn't rush you. It doesn't overwhelm you. It reassures you. People often talk about opportunity like it's loud and sudden. But the most sustainable shifts arrive calmly. They arrive when you're ready to receive without panic. When you can hold responsibility without losing yourself. And you're at that point now. You don't need convincing. You need confirmation. Stay till the end. This part matters. You've already done the internal work. You've learned patience. You've practiced restraint. You've learned to sit with uncertainty without letting it define you. Those skills don't disappear. They accumulate. They build something solid inside you. Something steady. There was a time when you reacted quickly. When you needed answers immediately. When silence felt uncomfortable. But now, silence feels informative. It gives you space to think. To observe. To decide intentionally. That's growth. You're not here by accident. And you're not here because you were loud. You're here because you stayed consistent when others burned out. You stayed focused when distractions were easier. You stayed grounded when emotions tried to pull you off course. If you're still listening, take a moment now. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel. Comment Amen if this aligns with you. Share this with someone who needs calm reassurance today. Then come back. Stay. Because this message continues for a reason. You've learned that not everything valuable is visible immediately. Some things mature quietly. Like confidence. Like self-trust. Like emotional control. Those qualities don't demand attention. They command respect naturally. Think about how you respond to challenges now. You don't rush. You don't panic. You assess. You adapt. You move forward with intention. That didn't come from comfort. It came from experience. From navigating uncertainty without losing your direction. Stay here. Don't scroll. There were moments when things didn't make sense. When effort didn't seem to equal outcome. When you wondered if you were moving in the right direction at all. But instead of quitting, you refined. Instead of complaining, you adjusted. Instead of collapsing, you strengthened internally. That matters more than you realize. You're not someone who needs constant reassurance anymore. You recognize alignment when you feel it. You trust yourself more now. You listen to your instincts. You've stopped outsourcing your confidence to external approval. That's powerful. Let this sink in. You don't need to prove anything today. You don't need to rush into explanations. You don't need to convince anyone of your worth. Your presence already carries it. Your calm carries it. Your consistency carries it. And that's why this moment feels steady instead of overwhelming. Stay till the end. You're doing great. You've reached a point where you value quality over noise. Depth over speed. Meaning over appearance. That shift didn't make life boring. It made it intentional. You're no longer distracted by every opportunity. You recognize the ones that align with who you've become. And alignment feels peaceful. People may not always understand your quiet confidence. They may mistake it for distance. But you know the difference. You're not disconnected. You're centered. Pause again. Breathe. This is your reminder that steadiness is strength. That patience compounds. That consistency is never wasted. Even when results seem delayed. Especially then. If this message is still holding your attention, that's not random. It's because it mirrors something you already know deep down. You're ready for more. Not because you're desperate, but because you're prepared. Like the video. Subscribe. Comment, Amen. Share this with someone who needs grounding today. Then stay. Because the people who stay till the end are usually the ones who understand that real value unfolds gradually. You don't rush growth. You allow it. And you're allowing it now. Stay right here. Stay with me. Don't scroll. Don't let your attention drift. Because this is where depth begins, not repetition. You've already heard many words in life. Advice. Opinions. Motivational lines. But this moment feels different because it isn't trying to push you forward. It's allowing you to stand firmly where you already are. And that matters. Because most people move without ever feeling grounded. You didn't. You learned to pause. To observe. To understand yourself before reacting to the world. That skill alone separates you from the crowd more than you realize. There was a time when you thought being strong meant doing everything alone. Carrying everything silently. Never asking. Never slowing down. But life taught you something gentler. Strength also means knowing when to breathe. When to wait. When to let things unfold without forcing them. You didn't lose momentum when you learned that. You gained control. And control creates stability. Stay right here. This part is important. You've developed patience not because life was easy, but because rushing never gave you the results you wanted. You learned that some outcomes respond only to consistency. Only to steadiness. Only to someone who doesn't panic when timelines stretch. And you became that person quietly. You no longer react to every delay like it's failure. You see delays as adjustments. As preparation. As refinement. That shift didn't come from comfort. It came from experience. From sitting with uncertainty and realizing it didn't destroy you. It strengthened you. Pause. Breathe in slowly. Breathe out gently. You've noticed how your reactions changed. Situations that once upset you now pass through you more easily. Opinions that once shook you now feel distant. Not because you stopped caring, but because you learned discernment. You learned what deserves your energy and what doesn't. That's wisdom forming. Don't scroll. Stay. You've outgrown the need to be understood by everyone. You value being understood by yourself more. That inner alignment makes external validation optional, not necessary. And that's freedom. There were moments you doubted if you were progressing at all. When growth felt invisible. When effort felt repetitive. But growth isn't always dramatic. Sometimes it's subtle. Sometimes it shows up as calm under pressure. As clarity in decision-making. As confidence without noise. Stay till the end. You're exactly where you need to be for this message. You've learned to sit with silence without filling it impulsively. You've learned to wait without assuming the worst. You've learned to trust yourself even when outcomes weren't immediate. Those are not small achievements. Those are foundations. People often admire visible success without understanding the internal work that made it possible. The restraint. The discipline. The patience. You've been building those quietly. And quiet foundations last longer. Stay here. Let that settle. You don't need to imagine yourself changing overnight. You don't need to chase a new version of yourself aggressively. You've already evolved. You're more composed. More aware. More intentional. And that version of you can hold responsibility without being overwhelmed by it. If you're still listening, this is your moment to acknowledge yourself. Not with pride. With respect. You've earned that. Take a second now. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel. Comment Amen if this resonates deeply. Share this with someone who needs calm reassurance today. Then come back. Stay. Because this message continues for those who don't rush clarity. You've noticed how peace became more valuable than proving a point. How stability became more attractive than excitement. That doesn't mean you lost ambition. It means your ambition matured. You want outcomes that last. Not moments that fade. Stay with me. You're no longer chasing every opportunity. You're selecting alignment. You're choosing what fits your values, your energy, your long-term vision. That's leadership. Even if no one calls it that yet. There were times when you felt misunderstood. When your quiet confidence was mistaken for distance. When your patience was mistaken for passivity. But you didn't correct them. You didn't explain yourself endlessly. You let time reveal truth. And time always does. Pause. Breathe. You've learned that your worth doesn't fluctuate with opinions. It remains steady because it's internal. And that internal steadiness attracts respect naturally. You don't need to demand it. Stay till the end. This part matters. You've reached a phase where you're comfortable waiting for the right moment instead of forcing the wrong one. You trust timing more now. Not blindly, but thoughtfully. You prepare while you wait. You refine while you pause. You don't stop moving internally. And that's why this moment feels calm. Not chaotic. Grounded. Not rushed. If this message is holding your attention, it's because it mirrors your inner state. You're ready for more responsibility. More recognition. More alignment. Not because you're desperate, but because you're capable. Stay here. Don't scroll. Remember this. The people who stay till the end are often the ones who understand depth. Who value meaning over noise. Who recognize that real shifts don't need pressure. They need presence. And you're present. Like the video. Subscribe. Comment Amen. Share this with someone who needs grounding today. Stay till the end. Because steadiness always reveals what's meant for you. Stay here. Don't scroll. This is not background audio. This is the part where your mind usually wanders, and that's exactly why I'm asking you to stay. Because what you're feeling right now is familiarity. These words aren't trying to excite you. They're trying to steady you. And steadiness is what lasts. You've reached a stage in life where you don't need constant motivation. You need alignment. You need clarity. You need reassurance that the quiet work you've been doing internally was not wasted. You've been building something invisible. Patience. Emotional control. Self-respect. And invisible foundations always show results later than visible effort. That delay never meant denial. It meant preparation. There were moments when you felt behind. When you looked around and saw others moving faster, speaking louder, celebrating sooner. And for a second, doubt whispered. Not loudly. Just enough to make you question yourself. But you didn't abandon your path. You stayed consistent. You trusted your rhythm. And that choice shaped you more than any shortcut ever could. Pause here. Take a slow breath. You don't need to rush this part. You've learned to live without constant reassurance. You learn to encourage yourself internally. To keep going even when nobody was watching. That's rare. Most people perform for visibility. You performed for growth. And growth doesn't always announce itself early. It waits until it's undeniable. Stay with me. You've also learned restraint. You don't react instantly anymore. You don't explain yourself unnecessarily. You don't engage in every conflict. That doesn't mean you avoid confrontation. It means you choose battles that matter. That discernment came from experience. From realizing that peace is not weakness. It's power under control. There was a time when silence made you uncomfortable. When waiting felt like failure. But now silence feels informative. Waiting feels intentional. You use that space to observe. To refine. To prepare. And that's why you don't panic when things take time. You understand timing now. Don't scroll. This message is still unfolding. You've noticed how your priorities shifted. You value depth over attention, stability over chaos, meaning over appearance. That didn't happen because you lost ambition. It happened because your ambition matured. You stopped wanting quick wins. You started wanting lasting outcomes. And lasting outcomes require a different version of you. A calmer version. A grounded version. A version that can hold responsibility without being overwhelmed by it. That's who you are becoming. Quietly. Naturally. Stay till the end. You don't feel the need to announce your plans anymore. You let results speak. You let time confirm. You trust yourself enough not to seek permission. That confidence didn't come from praise. It came from self-respect. You've also learned to accept that not everyone will understand your pace. Some people move fast because they're afraid of stillness. You're not. You're comfortable pausing. Thinking. Choosing deliberately. That's not delay. That's direction. Pause again. Breathe. This is your reminder that consistency compounds. Even when progress feels invisible. Especially then. Every calm decision you made. Every disciplined choice. Every moment you didn't give up when it would have been easier to do so. All of that accumulated. If you're still listening, take a second now. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel. Comment Amen if this resonates with your journey. Share it with someone who needs reassurance today. Then come back. Stay. Because what comes next matters. You're no longer driven by urgency. You're guided by clarity. You don't rush into things just to feel productive. You move when it feels aligned. That saves you from burnout. From regret. From unnecessary detours. There were lessons you learned the hard way. About trust. About patience. About expectations. You didn't become bitter from those lessons. You became wiser. You adjusted without hardening. That balance is rare. Stay here. Don't scroll. You've learned that real confidence doesn't need to be loud. It doesn't need to convince anyone. It simply exists. And people feel it. Even if they can't explain it. That's why your presence feels different now. Calmer. Steadier. More assured. You don't need to dominate rooms. You anchor them. And anchoring is more powerful than noise. Stay till the end. You're entering a phase where preparation meets opportunity. Not suddenly. Gradually. Naturally. In a way that doesn't overwhelm you. In a way that feels earned. Because you did the internal work first. Remember this. What's meant for you doesn't rush you. It meets you when you're ready to receive without panic. Without fear. Without doubt. And you are ready. Stay here. Just a little longer. Stay right here. Don't scroll now. This is exactly the moment where your attention matters most. You've already invested time. You've already allowed yourself to feel calm. Don't break that flow. Because what you're experiencing is rare in a world that constantly pulls you in 10 directions at once. This stillness. This focus. This sense that something meaningful is being said without shouting at you. Stay with it. You've spent much of your life adapting. Adjusting to situations you didn't choose. Learning to be flexible when things didn't go according to plan. And over time, that adaptability turned into strength. You stopped resisting reality and started working with it. That shift alone changed how life responds to you. Because life responds differently to someone who is grounded. There were times when you felt pressure to move faster. To keep up. To match someone else's pace. And maybe you tried, for a while. But it never felt natural. Because your growth was never meant to be rushed. You're someone who builds deeply. Carefully. Intentionally. And deep foundations don't form under pressure. They form under patience. Stay here. Don't skip this part. You've learned that not every delay is a setback. Some delays protect you. They give you time to become the version of yourself that can handle what's coming without losing balance. You don't just want results. You want sustainability. You want outcomes that don't collapse under stress. And that mindset has been shaping you quietly. Pause for a moment. Take a slow breath. Let that sink in. You've also learned something important about yourself. You don't need constant excitement to stay motivated. You need purpose. You need meaning. When something aligns with your values, you can stay committed for a long time. That's why shallow distractions don't hold you anymore. You're not bored. You're selective. Don't scroll. You're doing well by staying. There was a phase when you questioned whether being calm made you less competitive. Whether choosing peace meant settling. But now you understand. Calm doesn't reduce your drive. It sharpens it. It allows you to think clearly. To act intentionally. To respond instead of react. You've become someone who listens before speaking. Who observes before deciding. Who thinks long-term instead of chasing quick validation. That didn't make you slower. It made you precise. Stay till the end. This part matters. You're also learning to trust yourself more than external noise. Opinions don't shake you the way they used to. Not because you're closed off. But because you've developed inner clarity. You know what feels right for you. And you honor that. That self-trust wasn't given to you. It was built. Through experience. Through mistakes. Through reflection. Through choosing to keep going even when things felt uncertain. And now, that trust shows up as calm confidence. Stay with me. You don't need to announce your growth. You don't need to prove your progress. You let consistency speak. You let time reveal. And time always reveals what's real. There were moments when you felt misunderstood. When people couldn't see the depth behind your quiet nature. But you didn't try to convince them. You allowed space. You focused on what mattered. And that choice preserved your energy. Pause again. Breathe. You've reached a point where you understand that attention is valuable. And you choose where to place it carefully. You don't give it to chaos. You don't waste it on distractions. You invest it in things that nourish you mentally and emotionally. That's why you're still here. Still listening. Still present. If this message resonates, take a moment now. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel. Comment Amen if this aligns with your journey. Share it with someone who needs calm reassurance today. Then come back. Stay. Because the people who stay are the ones who understand depth. You're not chasing noise anymore. You're choosing meaning. You're not running from stillness. You're using it to think clearly. That's a powerful shift. You've also learned that growth doesn't always feel like progress. Sometimes it feels like waiting. Like refining. Like preparing quietly. And that's okay. Because preparation determines how well you handle what comes next. Stay here. Don't scroll. You don't feel the need to rush into every opportunity. You evaluate. You assess. You choose what aligns. That discernment protects you from burnout and regret. It keeps you grounded. You've learned that saying no is sometimes the most productive decision. That rest can be strategic. That patience is active, not passive. And those lessons changed how you move through life. Stay till the end. You're becoming someone who values clarity over speed. Stability over appearance. Depth over attention. That doesn't make life boring. It makes it intentional. And intentional living creates lasting fulfillment. There's a reason this message feels steady. Because it mirrors your internal state. You're not frantic. You're not lost. You're preparing. You're aligning. You're ready for more responsibility because you've learned how to carry less without breaking. Don't scroll. This is for you. Remember this. The people who stay present long enough are the ones who notice when things shift. When clarity arrives. When alignment happens quietly. And you're one of them. Stay right here. Just a little longer. Stay right here. This is the final part. Don't scroll now. Don't let your attention drift. Because endings are not about stopping. They are about settling. About letting everything you've heard finally land inside you. You stayed this long for a reason. Something in you recognized that this wasn't noise. It wasn't pressure. It wasn't urgency. It was steadiness. And steadiness speaks to people who have been strong for a long time. You've reached a stage where your life doesn't need dramatic motivation anymore. You've already been motivated by necessity, by responsibility, by survival, by commitment. What you need now is clarity. And clarity doesn't shout. It whispers. It reassures. It reminds you of who you already are. You've been carrying things quietly. Expectations. Responsibilities. Unspoken pressure. You learned how to function even when you felt tired inside. You learned how to keep going even when nobody was watching. That doesn't make you ordinary. That makes you resilient. And resilience is not loud. It's steady. Pause here. Take a slow breath. Let that truth settle. There were moments when you wondered if your effort was being wasted. When progress felt invisible. When it seemed like others were moving faster while you were still refining. But refinement is not delay. It's preparation. You weren't falling behind. You were becoming capable. You've noticed how your mindset changed over time. You don't chase approval the way you once did. You don't react to everything. You don't feel the need to explain yourself constantly. That shift didn't happen by accident. It happened because you learned self-trust. And self-trust is built through experience, not words. Stay with me. This part matters. You've learned to sit with uncertainty without letting it control you. You've learned that not having all the answers doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're learning. Growing. Adjusting. And that ability to stay calm in uncertainty is one of your strongest qualities. You don't need chaos to feel alive anymore. You don't need drama to feel important. You value peace. You value clarity. You value stability. That doesn't mean your life is small. It means your priorities are strong. Pause again. Breathe. You've also learned something important about timing. That forcing things too early only creates stress. That rushing outcomes often leads to regret. And that patience, when practiced intentionally, protects you. It gives you space to prepare mentally and emotionally for what's next. There were lessons that didn't come easily. Lessons about trust. About disappointment. About expectations. You didn't let those lessons harden you. You let them educate you. You adjusted without becoming bitter. You grew without losing compassion. That balance is rare. Stay here. Don't scroll. You don't need to announce your growth. You don't need to prove your worth. Your presence already carries it. The way you move. The way you speak. The way you decide. People feel it even if they can't explain it. You've become someone who values depth over noise. Meaning over attention. Long-term peace over short-term excitement. That doesn't make life boring. It makes it intentional. And intentional living creates fulfillment that lasts. You've also learned to protect your energy. Not by shutting people out, but by choosing where you invest yourself. You stopped pouring into places that drained you. You stopped explaining yourself to people who never really listened. And that choice gave you space to grow. Pause. Let that sink in. You're no longer driven by fear of missing out. You're guided by alignment. You don't rush into things just to feel productive. You move when it feels right. That discernment saves you from burnout. From regret. from unnecessary detours. Stay till the end. This is the final reminder. You've been preparing without realizing it. Every calm decision, every patient response, every moment you chose discipline over impulse. All of that shaped you into someone who can hold more responsibility without losing balance. And that's important. Because not everyone can handle growth gracefully. Some people receive more and fall apart. You won't. Because you've already learned how to stay steady with less. You're not behind. You never were. You were building foundations instead of appearances. And foundations last longer than anything built for show. Take another slow breath. If this message supported you, if it grounded you, if it reminded you of your strength, take a moment now. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel. Comment Amen if this spoke to your heart. And share it with someone who needs calm reassurance today. Because sharing clarity multiplies it. As you move forward, remember this. What's meant for you does not rush you. It does not pressure you. It meets you when you are ready to receive it without panic. And you are ready. You are grounded. You are focused. You are capable. Stay steady. Stay present. This is the end.